Michelle Prince, founder and CEO of Performance Publishing Group, making a difference one story at a time. We'll be shining the light on successful founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders that are getting results and making a difference. We'll talk about how they built their businesses, are creating movements, and leveraging the power of authority in their own lives. Be sure to stick around to the end of the show, and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Michelle Prince with the Power of Authority Spotlight, where we shine the light on awesome business owners, founders, leaders, entrepreneurs, basically people that are doing great things. They're changing the environment around them. They're changing people's lives, and they are making a difference, which is awesome. And our guest today is doing all kinds of cool things, and I can't wait to introduce you to him. But first, this episode is brought to you by Performance Publishing. Performance Publishing provides done-for-you publishing services for new authors. If you've ever thought about writing a book, or if somebody's ever said you should write a book, then grab a free strategy call and determine if it's the right next step for you. Go to performancepublishinggroup.com, performancepublishinggroup.com. All right, let me introduce you to Chris Gronkowski. He went from NFL player to entrepreneur, owner and inventor of the Ice Shaker, and co-owner of Everything Decorated. Chris first made his career for himself as a professional football player. He joined the NFL in 2010 after being signed by the Dallas Cowboys as a fullback. Go Cowboys! During his years in the NFL, he also played for the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. We won't hold that against you, Chris, us Cowboy fans. In 2016, he decided to put his entrepreneurial skills to the test when he set out to create a protein shaker bottle that would alleviate many of the issues he and other avid athletes experience with standard protein shakers. In 2017, Ice Shaker appeared on ABC Shark Tank. With offers from 5 sharks, Gronkowski was able to negotiate an offer from Mark Cuban and guest shark Alex Rodriguez, landing a deal. After the episode aired, Ice Shaker sales exploded. The investment from Mark and Alex and all the sales that came in from the show allowed Ice Shaker to quickly create new products, release new colors, and get the help Gronkowski needed. Ice Shaker was able to go from a one-product company to offering an entire line of premium insulated drinkware, and is now sold in stores, gyms, and specialty shops across the United States. The website is iceshaker.com. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my tongue twisted a little bit today with reading that, but your background, your bio is so impressive. I'm really excited to dig in and get to know you better.
I really appreciate it. I need to add on to my bio a little bit because I'm now a big time youth sports coach as well. So I'm coaching a lot of football teams, baseball teams for my kids. I have 3 boys now myself, and feel like that's a whole nother aspect of my life that I'm really diving into now.
Oh my gosh. What are the ages of your boys and the teams you're coaching?
So my oldest is 6, then I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then a baby girl that's 1 year old. So coaching the 2 older boys.
That is awesome. Oh, my boys are now 24 and 20, so we're past that stage, but my husband coached their teams as well, and those are just some awesome years.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Although my husband was not a professional soccer coach, football coach, any of that. So your boys definitely have a leg up.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience coaching young kids. So you want to teach them a lot. You realize pretty quickly that you have the knowledge of the game, but they're not going to be able to absorb it all. So you have to really find ways to simplify things and make drills to teach them the basic skills.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So tell us a little bit about, I'm fascinated that you played for the Cowboys and of course the Broncos and the Colts. No, but I am a Cowboy fan, I have to say. But tell us how did that journey happen? How did you go from, I'm sure you played high school ball and college ball?
For sure. Yeah, I started in high school. I actually didn't play until high school. So 4 out of 5 brothers from Buffalo, New York, played in the NFL in some capacity. We have 5 Super Bowl rings throughout the brothers, but I do not have one of those. I wish I did. But yeah, it started as more of a hockey family and a baseball family growing up in Buffalo. It turned into a lot of competition with 5 boys in one household and a bunch of neighbors who also played sports and were over at the house all the time. And from there, once we got into high school, the older brother played football, and we kind of fell in love with football at that point. And was lucky enough to, for me, get a last minute scholarship offer to play Division I football at the University of Maryland. Ended up taking that, turned down an opportunity to go to the Ivy League, which my dad was super excited about to brag to everyone and tell him that he had a son in the Ivy League, but turned that down. Wanted to take on, the highest level of football, and also a full scholarship sounded a lot better than paying full price at an Ivy League
At an
school.
Ivy
So
League.
that would have been tough. So I decided to take that offer last minute, and ended up getting a full scholarship there. Ended up transferring to the University of Arizona, where I didn't actually play until my junior year. I had a great season. Got a chance to play with my brother at Maryland, but also my brother at Arizona. And at that point, had one shot, one opportunity to go undrafted to the Cowboys. Undrafted player, hadn't made the roster in over 10 years, and I ended up making the starting roster that year. So started for the Cowboys for a year, went to the Colts for a year, went to the Broncos for a year. And my contract was up. I re-signed with the San Diego Chargers actually at that point, and went into camp with them, got hurt, and got released with the injury settlement. Never played football again. So
Oh,
successful career for me. A lot of people, the average life is about 2 years. You get pension, retirement benefits uh, at 3. So I got 3 credited, actually got 4 credited seasons, and was able to take that money and then use it for the business world.
that is so awesome. I mean, that in and of itself is just so impressive. I'm curious. So in 2010, who was the quarterback of the Cowboys?
So we had Tony Romo was our quarterback.
It was Tony then. Okay. Wow. So I remember, well, I've been in Texas since 84 or 83. So,
Okay.
the dynasty years, I think that
Oh
was
yeah.
pre you joining, but those were about a decade before, some awesome years. And Tony Romo, actually back then, who was it? It wasn't Tony. It was, I can see his face.
You had Aikman back in the day,
Aikman.
and Roger
Thank you.
Staubach, and oh yeah, some
Oh,
good
wow.
quarterbacks.
I'm thinking Aikman, but hopefully he never listens to this, as his name went completely blank for me. But uh, all right, well, so okay, obviously, just being in any professional sport, that aside from even the athletic ability, says a lot about you, because it takes so much discipline, hard work, dedication. So, how do you feel like the experience you had in the NFL helped you to be more successful as an entrepreneur, or was that shift a completely uncomfortable, totally different experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, two completely different beasts is what I would say. The things that you learn in football mentally is hard work, toughness, uh, really diversity is huge as well. Fighting through injuries, and being tapped on the shoulder one day and getting traded, and you're on a plane that same day, you're on a new team, kind of stuff is what you're dealing with. So the mental aspect of it's huge. That grind, you go through that grind, and once you go through that, it's you could kind of take on anything. So taking that mentality and bringing it to business is big. To be able to really grind through anything, take on unexpected challenges, and figure out solutions was massive to be successful as an entrepreneur. So that aspect of it was definitely helpful. The actual day to day and knowing how to run a business, you have no idea. Like you walk into it completely blind. You don't have anyone showing you how to do it. You're not taking classes. You're not learning from a mentor, and you're not seeing this as well as an NFL player. None of the actual day to day experience transfers over. My skills that I was working on was catching a football and
Yeah.
blocking a guy. That was my day to day skills. So that doesn't transfer over at all. You almost enter into the business world behind. I never worked in a corporate setting. I never saw how business should be run. I never saw what a job description looked like. I didn't know how to hire or fire anyone. So in that aspect, I was definitely behind, but I was in front with uh, this mental game, and also with the dollars. I was able to invest my own money. I wasn't a millionaire by any means, even though I started with 3 teams for 3 years. Uh, I guess that's people don't realize it, but not every player makes millions of dollars every season. So
Yeah.
I wasn't walking away a multimillionaire or anything like that. I still had to really find a second career for myself, and I was able to leverage that money to start the business and do it debt free. So that was a huge start for me as well. But yeah, overall, the things you learn, you kind of bring back in later on. So teamwork was huge. Uh, just really the entire structure of the NFL team is more of it's a company. You
Yeah.
know, you have a head coach, you have assistant coaches, you have players. Early on with the business, I tried being all three. I was trying to be, the CEO or head coach. I was trying to be, every single assistant as well. Yeah, I was trying to be the players or the employees too. And
Yeah.
finally realized as we started scaling up that the only way to be successful and have a successful team is to build out the team, to build out the processes, and really delegate some of these responsibilities so that everyone could play towards their strengths, and that you could really start to build this business to the next level. So later on in the business, probably year three, is when I really realized how cool of a structure I was in with the NFL team and how impressive it truly was. And I started bringing some of those aspects of the business side of the NFL into my business around year three.
Awesome. A couple things you said, I have to point out that I'm an entrepreneur. I've been in business since 2009, and a lot of people listening are entrepreneurs. And just the fact that you said, I think most people think if you're successful in one field, like an NFL player, that you're just automatically business is just going to come like that. But the fact that you went in without knowing anything and could still make something of this business is very encouraging, very inspiring. And how did it come about that you started the business? Were you just kind of playing with this protein shake that you're like, I'm just doing this for myself? Or were you intentional from day one that I'm creating a product and I want to build a company around it?
Yeah, I mean, I had no business plan, no marketing plan. I had nothing.
You're just like most entrepreneurs.
I
I
was
love it.
for sure. It was more of a passion of mine. I was going to the gym multiple times a week, pretty much every day. It was hot here in Texas. I'd get there, I'd grab a plastic shaker. It was warm, sweating, take a sip. It tasted awful, it smelled awful, and I wanted to create this product for myself. At the same time, I thought I could, turn it into something big. I've seen other hydration, bottle companies sell for some good money, so I knew there's a market there for sure. But really, it came down to just the passion for it. Ordering 10,000 bottles, they showed up. I stored them in the upstairs of my house, and right then and there, I realized it was going to be hard to sell them. It was going to really, really take some time and effort, and started hustling, doing everything that I could to start moving the first couple bottles, doing trade shows, forcing every friend and family member to buy them and leave me a review, studying different listings on Amazon to see why they're ranked first and why mine wasn't ranked first. And
Mhm.
getting my listing organically ranked in the top three within the first month was a huge game changer. And I was doing all this with no marketing spent for the most part. Just the shows I was paying a little bit for, cheaper shows, $500 for a show kind of thing at a bodybuilding show, but no digital ad spend, no radio shows, TV, anything like that. It was maybe a show budget, but everything else was just grinding it out.
Wow. And so, but you took the risk. You bought 10,000, and which is awesome, right? You bet on yourself. And what made you go from doing the trade shows? It sounded like you were starting to get some momentum on Amazon. What made you decide that you needed some extra help? Because you went to Shark Tank in, what was it, 2017?
Yeah, so I did have it was kind of this game plan from day one. I had an email from 2012 when I was still playing in the NFL from my agent that said that Shark Tank was looking for any current or former NFL players to join the show. For them, it was a good way to expand their audience and hopefully bring in some new viewership. So they reach out to celebrities and athletes to try to get them on the show. So I had this email. I kind of had it kind of game planned out that once I got my sales up high enough, I wanted to go on the show because I just knew it would be massive exposure. It would be kind of overnight success. People would see it. I thought I had a product that was super easy to understand and would sell well online as well. So at the 3 month point, just from grinding it out, doing shows and whatever I could, I was able to get up to about $25,000 in sales. And at that point, I reached out to Shark Tank and said, "Hey, I have this really cool product and concept. I would love to pitch it to you."
Wow. And what do you think made, I mean, first of all, to have five sharks, want to be interested is in and of itself is huge. But the fact that you got Mark Cuban and Alex, I didn't realize he was on there. I guess maybe he was guest appearing, or
Hmm.
was he a? And the fact that he was on during your show is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I was actually the most incredible part was my first offer came from Mr. Wonderful himself.
No
So
way.
I was kind of waiting, and yeah, I've reviewed every episode, and I was kind of waiting for the tough questions to come from him. What's stopping me from making the Mr. Wonderful shaker? What's so special about this? Where's the patents? All that kind of stuff. And fortunately, I think we just had really good energy in the room, and he ended up making the first offer out of everyone. So shocked me. Wasn't the greatest offer, but it was still the first offer instead of the last offer, which he usually tries to just eat you up on a last second offer. So uh, that's when I was pretty excited, and that actually came probably 35, 40 minutes into the pitch. On TV, you see 8 minutes of it. In real life, they're asking real questions. They want to know your true story, your whole background. They want to make sure they're betting on someone that is really going to put the time and effort in as well, because their time is very valuable, more than their investment. You have multi-billionaires or multi-millionaires in that room, and at the end of the day, they have to do the diligence. They have to really dig in. It takes a couple of months for them to really do the work to make sure that your business is what they say, like what you say it is. So it's the real deal. The exposure overnight was huge, and I'm really glad that I went on the show.
Wow. So did you experience any growing pains? I mean, where was your business when you went on the show? You said about 25,000 in sales, and just to get that exposure overnight, were there, I mean, did you have all that product ready to go, or how did you scale it so quickly?
Yeah, it was kind of a blessing that I only had one product at the time. So one color, one size for the most part. We had a couple other, like a small amount of inventory of other colors, but there was just one main color for the most part. So we were able to pre-package them in different sets, two, threes, four, five, sixes, and then just slap labels on afterwards onto these boxes after we sold. But yeah, we actually, by the time I got on the show was 6 months in, we had about 80,000 in sales at that point. I was doing everything I could to get it up so I could get a better evaluation on the show. And then after the show, within the next 12 months, we did 3 million in sales at that point. So growing pains for sure. That 3 million comes in, you 20x, or I don't know, I think we're 25x. Uh, at first, the first month we probably 50x. So at that point, it was still out of the upstairs in the house. No employees, no warehouse. there's nothing. So no customer service, no one packing. Like it was friends and family, and my wife's business had some employees as well that were helping. So yeah, it was tough. It was an absolute all out grind, trying to figure out what to do. Getting a place to start warehousing and shipping from, and finding employees, and really trying to figure out how to run a business overnight. It's kind of what happened. So grinded it out, kind of figured things out, made every mistake possible, uh, and then from that point, got a bigger warehouse, and really after this kind of initial wave ended, I also had to figure out how to actually market as well.
Hmm.
We kind of rode this wave from October, which was when we aired, right into the holiday season, so into the Black Fridays and Christmas era. And then after that, we went right into New Year's resolution in January,
Hmm.
and then February hit, and it just all stopped. And that's when I realized that we're gonna have to do something here to keep this going. So the whole marketing aspect inside of things then kicked in. And I had to figure out how to keep this business running.
So can we talk about that marketing part? Because right, across the board, I think all businesses struggle with that part of it. I mean, especially if you're an entrepreneur, we're good at what we do, or you've got the passion for the product and all that. But what would be your advice for businesses that are struggling to, maybe sales are dipping this year, especially? I've seen it across the board. So any advice that maybe things that you implemented that could transition to other businesses?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, a couple of things. One was telling your story.
Mm.
Find a way to tell your story. Shark Tank was a big part of that. That helped me. But really, just telling the story of why you started it, what's different about your product. Really educating people is huge. A lot of times, you kind of just assume your customer knows
Mhm.
your product. And I see it so many times where I walk in and I'm like, this is a really, really cool product. I had no idea until I sat down with you. I took extra time out of my day and, kind of forced you to explain to me the difference of it. So a lot of times, just telling your story was big. And then the other thing was really treating each customer as, your only customer. A word of advice and a piece of advice I got was the fastest way to grow is one customer at a time. And when you think about it, you do a really good job, one customer turns into two.
Mhm.
As they tell a friend or a family member, you do a great job with that customer. Now you have four customers as you continue to tell a friend, and it just exponentially multiplies from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. And
Yeah.
the better job you do, the more people they tell. So do a great job. Uh, do something that they want to tell someone else about, and that's the fastest way you'll grow, because you're going to buy something from somebody that's recommended by a friend. If your mom or your dad or your brother, sister, someone in your family tells you that, hey, this product is absolutely amazing, you need to have one, you're probably going to buy it. If you see it on an ad that comes across on your Instagram, you might convince someone after they see it a couple times, or you hit them with some really good ads. But really, until they get that push from somebody they know, or they see somebody using it, it's really hard for them to pull the trigger on it. So um, that was always a huge piece of advice for me, was take care of the customers you have, and if you do a great job, they'll tell a friend.
That is such great advice, especially with everybody trying so hard to like do, ads and all kinds of different marketing approaches. Did you lean aside from like taking care of customers, which I love that advice, did you lean toward one uh avenue more than others? Like did you do more social media, or did you do those trade shows, podcasting, all of the above, or
A lot of social media became a big play. So Facebook, Instagram ads have
Mhm.
always been a strong play for us. Uh, we did get away from them a little bit, especially with iOS updates, and
Mhm.
the return just wasn't there for a couple of years. But they're all starting to bounce back now, and has become a stronger force for us again. But it was that, and then really just building a sales team and going out there and making personal connections has been huge for us as well.
Mm, so important. And it's usually one of the last things we do as business owners too, because when you said it first, or when you first started, you were doing everything, the you know assistant coaches, this coach, assistant coach, playing all that. And so it's good. Yeah, we at some point you have to bring in others to help build it, or it won't just happen. All right, what else do you want to share with us? I would love to know more. You said you have other products now, so obviously everybody go to iceshaker.com, but give us a little bit more idea of what else we're going to find there.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the big things that we do that separates us is we customize our bottles. So you could take any of the bottles on our website. We could put a name, logo, saying on it, and people will buy them for anything from employee gifts, customer gifts, gifts for events, golf outings, all that kind of stuff. So that's been great for us, and really a great item for people that actually make an impact. It's going to be something they use, they bring it everywhere. It kind of becomes a walking billboard for your company as well. If you go on our site, we have anything from a 1 gallon jug now, all the way down to a 14-ounce kid cup at this point. So shaker bottles, water bottles, more like coffee cups as well. We have a new speaker bottle with a speaker that twists into it. That's a partnership that we did with a company called Bump Box. We have a kit that has sunglasses in it now with a company called Pit Viper that we just partnered up with as well. So there's always something new and exciting going on the site. We just released a golf collection with some funny sayings for golf bottles. So my favorite is the Bogey King one. I feel like it's just a gift that you give a guy who just like thinks he's really good at golf, but he's not. So you give him the Bogey King bottle. So yeah, we're always trying to do new partnerships and come out with new ideas and products.
Oh, I so love it. Well, definitely everyone listening, go to iceshaker.com. And as we wrap up, just give us two, actually, before we wrap up, I have two questions for you. Number one, the show is called The Power of Authority Spotlight. And my take on authority is, authority isn't being better. It's just you're building a platform and you have more opportunity to make an impact, right? So you're telling your story. I love that you said that, because a big part of my message too. So what would you say you're doing to leverage your authority, whether it be, to build your brand in bigger ways? So let's start with that, and then I'll wrap up with one last question.
For sure. One thing we're currently doing is a lot of community events, fundraisers, and one of them, we're going to break the Guinness Book of World Records for most protein shakes made at one time. So I'm excited for that. But having that authority to get people out there and get excited, raise money for a really cool cause and for youth foundations is great. The other thing I've done a lot of is just social media as well. Just getting out there, using my authority as a former NFL player to kind of tell the ins and outs of the NFL and really build a big following and build a customer base that trusts me because of the knowledge and the information that I brought them through social media has been a very impactful play that I've made as well. And then what was that this, was there two questions or was there one question?
No, you're right. I haven't asked the last question. So as we wrap up, thinking about those who are listening, and even for myself as an entrepreneur, what advice would you give to somebody who maybe they don't have the opportunity to go on Shark Tank? So what advice would you give to someone who is, whether they're in the early stages or they've been in business for a while, but they're struggling to get to that next level? Any advice you would give to them?
Yeah, for sure. I would say find a mentor. Something I didn't do a great job of early on. I went back to it probably about 3 years in. I had a really great mentor that I could have asked at any time. It was my dad, who's been in business for 32 years, but I refused to listen to him for the first 3 years before then going back to him and begging him for every single thing that he knew about business. But they've been there, they've done that, they know all the mistakes. Most people that are successful want to help other people get there as well. So there's a really cool group that I just found out about called SCORE, where it is former CEOs and high level people that have been retired and are now looking to help out people that might be small businesses or need help with their business. So I recently contacted them just for myself. So great, free resource for anyone that's really looking for somebody that can give them a little extra guidance.
Wow, that is great advice. And in fact, I've heard of SCORE for years, and I actually forgot about it. So that is a great that's a great resource. But a mentor is everything, right? We can't figure it out on our own. Somebody has done what we're trying to do. So find that mentor sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you can figure it out on your own. You'll just bypass a lot of steps if you ask somebody else who's already made all those mistakes. So it is huge. It's absolutely huge. It's what took my business to the next level was when I actually reached out, asked my dad, but also talked to other mentors in the community as well. And they all kind of gave me the same advice, which is pretty cool. So once I followed it definitely took my business to that next level.
Oh, wow. Well, you are so inspiring. And beyond just the NFL, but just the business, to transition is inspiring enough, but to see the success that you've had with this product is really awesome. So thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, just again, everyone go to iceshaker.com, grab your protein shaker. I'm definitely going to go, maybe figure out a way to get a customized one. But just to kind of wrap things up, some things that Chris said that really resonated with me is telling your story. I mean, that is something that I've been saying for years and years as owning a publishing company, but also as just somebody who wants to make a difference in this world is you got to tell your story if you want to connect with people. So great advice. Educate people. You are so right in that most people, we think they know what we do, but we're not educating them as best as we could. And then treating every customer as if they're your only customer is the best advice. And sometimes easy to forget, especially when you're focused on getting new customers, but to focus on the ones you already have, and business will always be there for you. So thank you again. And that is it for the show today. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you next time on the Power of Authority Spotlight. Thanks so much for listening to the Power of Authority Spotlight. If you are a successful founder, entrepreneur, business owner, or leader that's getting results and making a difference, and you'd like to be on this program, please visit performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast to apply. That's performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast. Also, if you got something out of this interview, please share this episode. Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials.
If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag #ThePowerOfAuthoritySpotlight. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content, so make sure you don't miss any episodes by subscribing. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our websites, performancepublishinggroup.com or michelleprince.com, and follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.